Welcome to Stellar Cycles, a podcast dedicated to showing each woman her intrinsic power to guide her life, her cycle, her relationships, and her dreams. I cover feminine energy, reproductive health, and all things related to being a potent and magical being that is woman. I'm your host, Alina, and today our topic is the Fascinating Womanhood series. I believe I told you guys that I'd be doing this series a few months back, even back in October, when I think I got a lot of the Instagram questions pertaining to relationships and things along that theme. So this book came to mind that I have honestly read already like 3 times, and it's called Fascinating Womanhood for the Timeless Woman, and it is by Dixie Andelin Forsyth. So we will link this book in the episode description for you guys if you want to delve into this topic deeper. So essentially this book is written by the daughter of the lady who wrote the original book back in the 1960s, right in the heat of the feminist movement when women were very anti-men, anti-traditional roles. So she, having had a successful marriage and family, wrote this book. And now her daughter has rewritten the book kind of more in modern context. So this is the one that I'm going off of. And like I said, we will link it for you guys. The goal of this Fascinating Womanhood series is to bring to you the sacred knowledge pertaining to being a magical woman, which was previously passed down through generations from mother to daughter. But in today's world, it's an art that's been largely lost. So women as a whole no longer know how to utilize their special influence that's built into every one of us and helps us create better relationships, families, and world. This series, over the next few weeks, will have 3 purposes. Show you how to reclaim your innate femininity, teach you how to inspire positive masculinity in the men in your life, and help you create a lasting love affair that you can enjoy for life. So that's what you guys can expect over the next few episodes. First, let me get into a few updates. So currently, I'm on day 25 of my luteal phase. I'm doing pretty good. I still have energy. I'm very much in cross off tasks mode. I really don't want any lingering to-dos hanging around, especially with the Christmas season. It just feels like even more so you're never caught up to all the things that you have to get done and prepare and get ready for. So that's very much been my priority. And again, we know that because in your luteal phase, as you're approaching your period, kind of the week before, your brain is noticing more things and it's better at prioritizing them. So because of the progesterone levels in your body at this time, you're just in a different mode. You're nesting, you're organizing, you're just in a get it done vibe. So definitely been it for me. And I don't want to jinx anything, but I've had no PMS symptoms. Well, we'll see about that in 2 days. Usually the day or 2 before my period, I'm in despair and just wondering, what is this all about? And then it starts, and then I feel relief. So the other thing for me is that doing my hair and makeup and dressing up, and here's the difference, first thing in the morning, not waiting till later in the day to do it. Even if I'm just home all day, has made a huge difference in my life. I feel like I can accomplish more. And I really have been. My days have been very productive in a healthy way. I haven't really been overloading myself, but I've been getting everything that I wanted to do done. So that's just a very fulfilling and satisfying feeling. And who knew that hair and makeup and a nice outfit can play a huge role in that. And there'll be more on that throughout this episode, especially about femininity. I've also been thinking about the fact that I really want to get back into scanning patients, especially in the women's health field. I love teaching the students, but I really do miss the problem-solving aspect of having a real patient, having them come in, putting the puzzle together of their symptoms, their images, their past history. So that definitely kept me challenged and mentally stimulated, kept me thriving, even though the hospital aspect was very challenging. And I've talked about that quite a bit on this show. So I'm just putting it out there in the universe that I will find the absolutely perfect clinical women's reproductive health job and ultrasound for myself and kind of have that go hand in hand with what we're doing with this podcast. And I feel like Christmas is kind of easy this year because we're doing Secret Santa, which means you just get one person and you get them a nice gift, Hopefully they give you a wish list. I have a really hard time when people are like, no, don't get me anything, or oh, I don't know what I want. And then you're kind of stuck with the obligation of needing to get them something because it is the holidays and you also want to, but then they're not being very forthcoming about what it is that they'd like to receive. And I know it's hard to ask for things, but yeah, so that's been challenging, but I'm grateful that I don't have to get multiple gifts for multiple people because that can really stack up and rack up a lot. And the Christmas season is super expensive. We know this. So yeah, let's dive into the Fascinating Womanhood series, part 1. So this one is all about reclaiming your femininity. So why should we as women be learning this? Why is this even important? I think it's because we all want lasting true love, full of romance, those types of relationships, and to be truly happy in our lives. I think most women that I've met want that more than anything. And love is the most powerful magic and emotion that's something we're all searching for. So over the course of this series, we will cover deep romantic love and how to attain it, men and women's specific needs, their similarities and differences, understanding your value as a woman, feminine power and the influence that women have, recognizing our natural weaknesses as strengths, biological differences between male and female brains and how these differences strengthen relationships, femininity, why it's vital for attraction and identity, appearance and mannerisms that fascinate men, acquiring real charm, why physical beauty alone doesn't cut it, pros and cons of the feminist movement, how to bring out the best in him, what good men really want in a woman, masculine pride, getting past his wall of reserve. Sorry guys, this is a long list, but that's why we're breaking this up into 3 episodes. The 4 levels of intimacy, character and its role in a romantic relationship, boundaries, creating a great atmosphere in your home, what to do when your man makes mistakes, how to be cute when angry, and men to avoid and how to spot a rat. So, claiming femininity, what does that mean? To reclaim femininity means to reawaken the native and unlimited power that you as a woman were born with. In this section, we're going to outline the aspects of femininity and then how to cultivate it and use it to achieve love and happiness in your life. Femininity is inside all women, but it's been lost and it must be reclaimed. And that's because women are seen as superficial and weak. They don't know anymore what it means to be female or why it's valuable. Number 1, because there's a lot of gender confusion going on. And number 2, because modern society trivializes female qualities like tenderness or sensitivity, causing people to think that those are undesirable qualities. And the goal here for us ladies is to realize that it's important and fulfilling to think and act female. Women are the gatekeepers of civilization because when women go wrong, men go right after them. That's a quote by Mae West. And men, at their best, they are great protectors, builders, organizers, and men become uncivilized when women are absent, corrupt, or immoral. This is super important for you guys. Jot it down. We set the tone for how men behave and live their lives. Truly. Without us, they don't have a reference point. They don't know what to do. And when women fall, men and families are doomed. And that's because family is the building block of society. And you can really tell the health of a nation by the health and character of its women. So the best types of power couples combine masculine leadership and strength with feminine sensitivity, insight, and relationship emphases. So we really need those both energies when it comes to everything in life. We've talked about the yin and the yang and how the two of them work to complete each other and fill in each other's blanks. And that's the whole point of a relationship, to become teammates and partners that can achieve something greater. Talking about self-worth and value, this is huge, massive for your relationships, even bigger for your romantic relationships, and even pertinent in your friendships and things like your career, your reputation, because your self-image is your perception, which determines your interactions with others and your achievements in life. So if you can't believe that you're the type of person that can reach the goal that you set out for yourself, it will literally never happen. But if you believe in yourself and hold the self-image that you know what, I'm the type of person that does this, then it will literally lead you to accomplish that thing. The thing about women too, why we're so different from men, is because our strength is not overt. Men's strength is outright, it can be brutal, can be powerful, but many heroic and famous women in this world that created waves, they had quiet feminine influence. The value in women, of course, as we know, but hardly ever gets enough recognition, is that we're the homemakers and mothers. We're just naturally adapted at creating and maintaining the home and dealing with those mundane daily tasks, everyday things like cleaning, making food, fixing clothes, first aid, childcare, schedule. So we should never put down the role of a homemaker and mother just because they're not doing things the same way that men are. They're doing the things that men don't have the propensity to do. Can they do it? Yes. But have they done it throughout history to the same level that women have? No. Feminine power. So we can't use the same power tactics that are used by and best suited for men, which, for example, would be control. So men are built for stress. They crave a fight for survival. They thrive in competition. And good, strong men really do help make our world a better place. Passive, nice guy type of men, yeah, maybe they might not be outright harmful, but they also don't lead, they don't protect, they just don't really get anything done or moving. Men are better at masculine power while women are better at feminine influence, right? So we have different strengths. We have different capacities. So our capacity to love and care is deep and wide. We can have, I think, a higher level of concern for someone who's going through a tragedy or suffering and we don't even know them, but we feel pain in our heart for them. And of course, we have a proclivity to spirituality. Women are a lot more interested in expanding, broadening, and being curious in researching a higher power, creating a relationship. Another part of feminine power is delicacy. So a woman's delicate strength holds together precious things like relationships, right? So women are much more geared to relationships than men are. And men really like this delicate quality in us because it allows for their feeling of strength and protectiveness to come through and shine. So any chance that they get to feel manly and masculine is going to build them up and make them feel really confident around you. Dignity, which is the inherent attitude of self-worth, is kind of the what I will put up with, and boundaries are part of dignity. So it just helps you retain respect for yourself and avoid situations where you feel violated or where you violate yourself by not maintaining your own integrity. Feminine power also lies in quiet strength, which takes a lot of maturity and emotional intelligence. I think it takes a lot of time for us to work on not being reactive and emotionally impulsive. So it's a great sign of wisdom when a woman can retain quiet strength. So when a man begins to truly trust you and feel safe, you can accomplish more together as a team than you ever knew possible. Marilyn Monroe once said that one of the best things that ever happened to me is that I'm a woman. That is the way all females should feel. So in cultivating feminine power, you can really win because men get tired of their energy and just being with the guys all the time, and they seek the polar opposite, right? They want that fulfilling feeling of being with someone who fills in the blanks, things that they don't have within themselves. If we try to be one of the guys in order to try to get close to a man, we actually become one of the guys to him. That's how he's going to see you. And in feminine power lies the ability to inspire change rather than force it. A little bit more about that later. Another thing is feminine influence is long lasting. Think about the guy who got his heart broken in 8th grade and has not stopped being mean to women since, and is like, I can't ever be in love. I can't trust girls. So feminine influence is very powerful, whether it's mothers, girlfriends, wives, aunts, grandmothers. We all have a really strong influence to shape men. So it all just comes down to knowing how to use it and cultivate it. So let's move into that. Women aren't weak, right? We all know that. We're actually very, very strong. I think a positive way to look at it is looking at our weaknesses as strengths. For example, when we're girly and soft around men, they feel more masculine and it brings out their best qualities. Some strengths of women are actually femininity, feminine mind, feminine perspective, Bearing children, that's a huge one because that's something that men absolutely can't do. Humility and being teachable. Our basic needs that we all strive for as women would be love and adoration, the safety and security on all levels, physical, financial, emotional. We want safety for our children. We also want to feel attractive. We want to feel understood, respected. We want the freedom to pursue our dreams. And overall, we just want to feel joy on a daily basis. So yes, equality should exist, but there are significant differences between the genders, and we can't deny that. Femininity is your greatest source of power and also the key to successful romantic union with a high-value man. We should do everything we can to prevent losing this power. So, what are some ways that you can amp up your femininity? So remember, first impressions matter. Unless you're in an emergency, don't leave the house looking unfeminine because dressing well unlocks opportunity. When people see you out and about, even if they don't know you, the way that you took the time to present yourself that day to be seen by other people sends a very strong message, even subconsciously. Avoid wearing pizza clothes. You know what I'm talking about. The type of clothes that you put on when you've given up on life, you've ordered your favorite fast food, and you're about to veg out on the couch for the next 8 hours. Pay attention to what kind of behavior you tend to lean towards when wearing certain types of clothes, because that does matter. Like I was saying in my updates, when I put on an outfit instead of just like staying in my pajamas all day, I accomplish more. It's a really good hack. So don't give away your feminine power that you have or your hot girl influence. Truly work on it. Pitch it however you want, but beauty is a very strong playing card for women in this world. So for example, why women glow up after getting divorced or splitting off with a guy. That's because maybe in the relationship, they might have gotten comfortable and stopped taking care of themselves. But now that they're back out on the market, they know that that's their only token that they can gamble with is their looks. So then they go all in because they know that time isn't necessarily on their side, or being a divorcee maybe narrows your pool of candidates. But it's just a very good example of why people make that pivot and start taking better care of themselves, and it really shows through. So again, pay attention to how your clothes drive your behavior and wear the types of clothes that get you the type of day that you're looking for. Hair. If nothing else, have your hair done. You can maybe do very minimal makeup, maybe be in like a cute workout set, but if your hair is sloppy, it's going to make the whole look sloppy. But if your hair is put together, maybe with some nice accessories, some jewelry, then, you just look very tied together. Makeup, if nothing else, just do some concealer, some blush, some powder so your face isn't super oily, and mascara. That's the basics. Some days I just go with that. Another very interesting thing that I've learned recently that I want to share with you guys is that character affects your appearance. So yes, your physicality actually begins to reflect your inner identity. So if you're always pessimistic, thinking and wanting negative things for other people, gossiping, talking negatively, you're going to start to look not great. But if you avoid those things and you're thinking good thoughts and wishing well on others, your beauty starts to reflect that. Trust me. Of course, we know that smoking, poor eating habits, excessive alcohol consumption, and drug abuse will all steal from your beauty and health. It's just best to avoid those. And of course, exercise. We talk about on this show how we shouldn't, as women, push ourselves to do as crazy of a workouts as men can do, but still, women should get good exercise and take care of their health, and yoga is a great feminine form of exercise and really helps you learn how to flow, makes you more flexible, which are all feminine traits. Posture, of course, sends a very strong message to people around you. It's kind of part of that first impression. Femininity is your true nature. It's the source of your personal power, and trust me, it will propel you furthest in life. Abandon it and only weaken yourself. Your character and health influence your appearance, so do the work on yourself. Figure out where you feel, a little bit subpar and bring those up, and you'll notice how much better and more confident you feel in yourself. Charm. Charm is a lot more powerful than looks. It's how you make people feel. So we're going to get into the different parts of charm, starting off with physical grace. So you want to learn how to move. Bodily movements can be mesmerizing. Have you ever seen somebody who just moves so gracefully and you just can't stop watching them? Marilyn Monroe learned how to move her body by reading The Thinking Body, and I actually have that book on my shelf. I really want to get into it, but it's very much about anatomy and physiology and how you can actually think your way into moving differently, depending on what you want to project. If you guys want to get into that, let me know if you find that book interesting. Another good point is don't just plop down when sitting. Figure out a way to sit down gracefully and walk around like you're famous. Maybe not like Justin Bieber famous based on his sloppy looks, but just walk around like you're somebody. Have a straight back. Put your chest forward, your shoulders back, and strut down the street. You'll notice how people are looking at you. And if you need inspiration, emulate a celebrity that you look up to. Look at how they talk in interviews, how they present themselves, how they walk, and just start mirroring that. Next part of charm will be voice. So practice speaking pleasantly. That sends a huge message too about your femininity, is that you don't yell or use crude gestures or mannerisms. That's another polarizing aspect that sets us apart from men, that we don't do those things that they might often do. John Erskine said that there's a difference between beauty and charm. A beautiful woman is one I notice. A charming woman is one who notices me. Don't forget, smiling. Smiling is an incredible way to send out positive energy and send out an approachable vibe to people. And delightful thoughts, like I said earlier, make you more beautiful, If you have a good character, if you're focused on the right things, and if you're thinking about good things rather than bad things, it's going to make you beautiful and put a smile on your face, give you that glow. Manners. Manners are a huge part of charm. They elevate you immediately. That can be something that sets you apart from other people so quickly, because most people today are not mannered at all. They'll literally let a door slam in your face even as you're walking into a building right behind them. It's so sad. So set yourself apart by writing thank you notes, remembering social invitations, being courteous, non-discriminating, just remembering little things that show people that you're considerate and that you care. What are the components of good conversation? You want to be more interested in the other person than you are in talking about yourself. You want to remember names and use them often. I've been told sometimes that people are like, wow, Alina, you really use my name a lot, and I really like that. So in Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, his book, he talks about the fact that there are a few things that people like hearing more than the sound of their own names. So they will really remember you and have a good memory of you when you use their name and refer to them by their name a lot. You want to also ask open-ended questions. Let them do the talking again. Maintain a pleasant vibe, notice their body language, and of course, don't offer advice unless asked. Yes, it's kind of our proclivity to just jump forth and start to tell the person, oh, well, if I was in this situation, this is what I would do. But a lot of the times people just want to talk out whatever they're going through, and jumping in and offering advice just doesn't give you the look that you're going for. Another big part is don't interrupt them. That interrupting is, I think, a very childish faux pas, and I think anyone over the age of 10 should not be interrupting people when they speak. Literally let someone complete their thought and then you can go ahead. Don't exaggerate also. Look for something that you can sincerely compliment in a person. Don't give them fake flattery or compliments, but be sure to find something in them that you can sincerely compliment. I bet you can find that in any person that you talk to. Also, you want to graciously accept compliments. Don't talk people out of giving them to you. I hear women doing this all the time, whether I'm in direct conversation with them or if I'm overhearing a conversation. Like a woman will compliment another woman, and the woman who received the compliment is like, thanks, but it's kind of nah, and talks down the thing that she was complimented on. I don't know why we as women are so wired to doing that, but we kind of need to stop and just learn how to graciously accept and say, you know what, thank you, I really appreciate you noticing that. And, moving on, not getting too much deeper than that. So those are components on how to be a good conversationalist that'll really add to your charm and your feminine power. And this is because developing your charm is huge. Women who lack charm, they don't have good friendships, they don't tend to keep mature relationships, and aren't successful long-term in anything that they try to accomplish. That's because behavior beautifies you, and being charming means caring about others and how you treat and communicate with them. People really feel that, and they're much more willing to work with you in this world and help you along your way. Moving on to feminism. Did feminism really screw us? Honestly, the answer is yes and no. As with most controversial things, there's good sides, there's bad sides, and there's multiple components to it. So there's first wave feminism, there's second wave feminism. First wave feminism, which happened in the early 1900s, really was about the right to vote. The pros of it was there was also reform for higher education, women's right to go to college, the workplace, property rights, healthcare, things like that. But the cons was that this was kind of the first point in history where women were taken outside of the home. So now they had an increased workload. They had whatever they were doing in the factories, and then they still had to come home and work on the children, the house, and all the other tasks that come with that. At this point, they started getting resentment towards men and taking on this mentality of victimhood. The second wave of feminism came in the 1960s, and it was more focused on sexuality and sexual freedom. And the pros of the second wave feminism movement was that it gave women more fairness in the workplace, right? First wave, they got into the workplace. Now they wanted fairness in the workplace. There was more about reproductive rights, more for domestic violence victims, battered women's shelters started coming around, and there was reform in custody and divorce laws. So those were good things that happened in the 1960s for women. But there were negative consequences. So identity confusion started coming around, right? Like women started to lose their sense of value as distinctly being female in the world because they were being more and more pushed towards masculine attributes, masculine jobs, just masculine energy, everything. In the same time, which was kind of interesting, that they were being pushed towards this, their animosity towards men grew as well. And in this situation, they found themselves pressured to be both the mother and the breadwinner. And of course, there was a lot of talk about abortion. And while abortion is a very sensitive topic, this quote really stood out to me by Elizabeth Cady Stanton. And she says, "When we consider that women are treated as property, it is degrading to women that we should treat our children as property to be disposed of as we see fit." The message that conveys to me is that if we don't want to be treated as property, then why should we treat our children as property to kind of do away with, on our own terms? So no matter what anybody has been through, God doesn't judge you. He knows your story. He knows your heart. But there's just been a lot of stress and pain and conflict and controversy around this topic. So we will just leave it at that. The thing about feminism is that it really confused the roles of men and women, which are necessary for survival on this earth. Things have been divvied up on purpose the way that they have been to play to men's and women's natural strengths. Because successful marriages, they have division of labor, they play to each of the gender's core strengths, there is excellence through specialization, so people are doing things that they're good at and feeling fulfilled and successful through that. In this way, too, they avoid duplication of effort. So two people doing one job is always a waste of time. If one person can do the thing and the other person can do the other thing, you're literally accomplishing more. So feminism, unfortunately, has created a culture of some of the weakest women in history because women have stopped playing to their natural strengths, right? And trying to take the route and tactics that men do, which just simply don't work for us. So instead of taking on a victimhood mentality, we should be practicing and evolving our femininity, building those strong relationships and families, because those are the things that bring about real and positive change. The brains of men and women, obviously they're very different, and even though men's brains are technically bigger than women's, it's just because they have a bigger body mass on average, but the number of neurons is roughly the same. The brain can be divided into two portions, the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain. So the upstairs brain holds the left and right hemisphere. We know that the left hemisphere is the more logical, analytical side, where the right hemisphere is the more intuitive, creative, artistic side. The downstairs part is your lizard brain. It's primal, it's impulsive, it's reactive. You know that part of your brain. Women are naturally better at intuition because their left and right hemispheres are better connected since fetal development. So their ability to combine the analytical with intuitive thinking is what gifts them with this special intuition that men don't necessarily have. Men are more focused. They have less drive to create and foster relationship in exchange for their tunnel vision. Men really like sports because it lets them get their aggression out in a socially acceptable, nonverbal way. And it's really good when men have the ability to join structures like the military or similar things that really help manage their testosterone and curb that male aggression because they're required to control themselves in these settings. Knowing when your man is in upstairs mode or downstairs mode really helps you know how to deal with him, and we'll cover this more in part 2, which is all about inspiring the masculinity. And women, you know how we worry. We worry. We're more prone and vulnerable to the stresses of life. Like I said earlier, men are built to handle and withstand stress. It actually makes them thrive. But for us, it can really deplete and drain and age us prematurely. In stress management, it's not about eradicating stress or getting it rid out of your life completely, but it's more about finding healthy ways to deal with it that work for you, healthy ways to cope. Staying in your downstairs, in your lizard fight or flight brain for extended periods of time is the most stressful place to be because that raises your cortisol levels, leading to weight gain, infertility, insomnia, depression. So we as women, we have to be extra careful at monitoring our stress levels and finding ways to deal with it in ways that replenish us and restore us, because high cortisol levels for us over an extended period of time really rob us our health. Find ways to get yourself upstairs. What are some good ideas of that? We go over them so much here, like self-care type of things, like going for a hot girl walk, doing some yoga, getting out of your mind and into your body. And of course, remind yourself, view stress as an opportunity to develop your personal resilience. You're going to feel so good about yourself when you know that you can deal with stressful situations, that you have solutions to problems come to you easily. So, take your proclivity to worry and just be a little softer on yourself. Make sure to replenish and allow it to build your resilience. This concludes section 1. It's obviously super important that women get back to their femininity. We have really lost this power to drive our men and our families through our quiet, strong, powerful influence because we've been taught over this last several decades that in order to be valued and validated in this world, we need to act, think, behave, and accomplish in the same way that men do. So many women suffer from taking this route, truly thinking that this is what's going to work and achieve for them the happiness and love that they dream of, only to find themselves depleted, maybe left after several partners, running out of time to have the family that they wanted. And that's why I wanted to make this series, because I want you to know that there's another way. There's a way that you were literally born with, wired into you. You just have to tap back into it. And the easiest way is to practice amping up your beauty and your charm. That's what makes us special as women. That's what gives us our power. Understand your value in this world, even if modern society goes against it. Know that as a woman, you're capable of doing things that men couldn't dream of doing. And know that your vulnerabilities are the keys to having successful relationships, families, and creating a real change in the world. Don't try to hide them or stuff them down. Know that they're part of you and they are part of the system that's wired into you and that's geared to create happiness in life. Section 2 will be all about the masculine, how he works, and how to deal with him. Stick around for the next few weeks to get this whole series. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Stellar Cycles Pod. You can download the free grocery guide I have for you in the link in our bio. Please give us a rating if you enjoy this podcast, and I would love to read some reviews if you can leave some. Until then, go ahead and spread the good word about stellar cycles to your fellow women, and let's all elevate our lives, cycles, and dreams together. Till next time, Stellar Cycles out.